On April 15th, I made a video titled, "Is WWE 2K20 worth buying?" Now, that video has gotten plenty of views, but at the same time, I just wasn't happy with the video. I thought my quote-unquote review of the game was nowhere near as, in-depth. It was basically just me talking about how there were a heap of glitches when the game came out, and now, well, as of April, there weren't as many glitches. That was basically the video, and me kind of rambling about the 2K franchise and whatnot. So, this video today is going to be my official, brutally honest review of WWE 2K20 in late May of 2020. So, heading into June. This is the, convincing, consequential review of WWE 2K20. This will answer the question once again, is it worth buying? But at the same time, this video will actually have a bunch of in-depth gameplay stuff which, if you're a 2K or WWE 2K player, if you want to buy the game, or if you want to see a review, or you don't know to get it, it'll answer all these questions in much more specific detail. So, without further ado, I don't want to waste any more of you guys' time. I'm going to get into this. So, I've separated this up into pros and cons. Now, because I'm a very positive person, I'll start with the pros first. So, the first pro, the kick-out system, it's a bit easier. Now, there's not as much button mashing as in 2K19 and the previous 2Ks, but then again, it's not incredible. So the kick-out system, it is a little easier. That's one pro. My second pro of WWE 2K20 at the moment, the pinning animation, it got an update where your arms and elbows no longer stick in the air, which that was just like an inconvenience. It really was. So that's now no longer an issue because of the update. So the pinning animation's better. Next up, my third pro is the sweat system, which it looks fantastic. This is something which it's been there since the game came out, but the sweat system looks great. The only downside is that it doesn't appear in the victory animation, which that's a very minute little detail, but yeah, the sweat system looks really good. Also, my fourth pro, I've got some moves they do look more natural when they're slowed down. They really do. So yeah, when the moves are slowed down, because the gameplay's a little slower, the moves look more natural. So in that regard, that's good. So that's four. And then the fifth and final pro I've got is that the game-breaking glitches are far, far less common in late May 2020, and I assume early June 2020, than they were in October when this game came out, okay? There are nowhere near as many game-breaking glitches, which I'll probably put on screen now, and you're probably seeing them, but yeah, nowhere near as many game-breaking glitches. So those are the pros. Cons, there's a fair few of them if I'm being honest. So without further ado, the first con, the AI, it's much dumber than it was in 2K19, okay? The AI in 2K20, it does ruin match flow at times. Like, they won't do comebacks. They don't use resiliency if and when they have it. They will taunt when you're coming back, coming at them, and allow you to get a free hit. Literally, like, you're running at them, they'll start taunting. It just doesn't make sense. Like, the AI in WWE 2K20, it's just so irrational, which that comes down to them not putting nearly as much effort into making this game as they needed to, and as a result, the coding and the creation of the game is all messed up. But yeah, the AI is really, really not good. Next up, my second con, the models on the roster menu, or like when you're selecting a wrestler, they are terrible. The models when you're selecting a wrestler are absolutely god-awful. It's even worse, like, if you've done an edited attire, it looks so bad. Just horrid. Like, during entrances, these, like, wrestler models look fine, but, like, during the menus, oh my god. Seriously, oh my. They're just that bad. So, that's the second con. Third con, if you're big on, like, the creation, the create a wrestler, the creation's sweet, 2K20 is not the game for you. It wasn't from launch, and it wasn't at late May 2020. It's just not good from the creation suite. It's really not. Seriously, so that's the next con. Fourth, this one, if you use created arenas, wrestlers, and titles, the game will also likely crash on you, which is a big L. You don't want the game crashing on you at any time for any game. But yeah, when you create arenas, wrestlers, and titles, the game will be more likely to crash, which, I mean, that's never a good thing. Like, who wants the game to crash? Are you kidding me? Like, that's a big pain, so that's another one. Next, I've also got, if you like the downloaded alternate attires for wrestlers, you can forget about it, because in this game, there's just this huge like image and logo issue with like putting images and logos on created wrestlers and downloaded the tires. So the control creation suite, as I mentioned before, is just stuffed. Next up, I've got this one, the controls. They're just pretty weird. Like, usually, I find the controls are pretty easy to figure out, but 2K20, just something about them doing basic things is more convoluted. Now, as I mentioned, the pinning system is a little easier, but most of the controls, trying to get the moves to like get off like well and do the move you want, it's even harder than pretty much any other 2K game ever. Like, remember back in the older days, All Stars, like SmackDown vs Raw, the controls were easy. They were fun, they were arcade-like. Now, 2K20, the controls are just difficult. They're just super weird. So, that's that one. Lastly, this one's a bit of a small thing, but the hair physics. Now, this one's especially for the women, and you've probably seen a picture of AJ Styles during this video sometime. The hair physics are just god-awful. They seriously are. The hair just... It has a mind of its own. It's ridiculous. Why does the hair have a mind of its own? What is this? Seriously, what is this? So, that's the hair physics, and those are the cons. Overall, if I'm giving this game a rating, this one... I mean, ratings I find very subjective, so if you disagree with this number, that's all cool. I'm not saying that the game is an objective X number out of 10. If you think it's something else, then all cool. Personally, I think the game is a 4.5 out of 10. Now, on launch, it was dead set to 0. It was a complete dud bust on launch, but ever since, they've got rid of the game-breaking glitches. It's more playable. So, in the sheer regard that it's playable, I'm giving this game like a 4.5 out of 10. That's my rating. It's definitely not a 5 or above. That implies it's like a mediocre to great game. It's not. It's just not. It's probably a 4.5 type game. It's playable. So, yeah, without further ado, that's been the review. Hopefully you've enjoyed. If you have, be sure to like, comment, sub. You guys know the drill. For some of you, this will be the first time seeing my channel because, I don't know, this is a video which... targets a different community. If you've enjoyed it, if you enjoy what you hear, I talk pro wrestling, I review Raw, SmackDown, NXT, AEW, or not NXT anymore at the moment, but yeah, I do a podcast type thing. I get a bunch of topical videos going, so hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you enjoy pro wrestling, you enjoy my channel. So yeah, hit the sub button. If you haven't, be sure to like, comment, sub. You guys know the drill. See ya.